Hello and welcome to the Mutual Fund Guide. It's all about your funds and your returns. I'm Muralidhar Swaminathan. Joining me on the show today are Nikhil Kothari, Director and CFP at Etika Wealth Management, and Vatsal Shah, Head of Wealth Management at Sushil Finance. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. Before we take the queries, gentlemen, we will look at a very important piece of news that's doing the rounds in the mutual fund industry. This is about the Kotak Fixed Maturity Plan series. There is a delay, which is a delay in part payment of the funds that have matured. First, let me address the status of the two FMPs. First one is the series 127 of Kotak FMP matured on April 8. Now, ideally, when a fund matures on that date, the full amount has to be made. The maturity value will be about 452 crores. But Kotak Mutual Fund has said that there will be a delay in part of the repayment. The delay is something like 82 crore, but Kotak will be paying this 82 crore by September 30. Now, there is one more FMP series, which is FMP series 183, which matures today. This is something which is maturing today. This is very important. It has got a maturity value of about 607 crore. Of which about 102 crores is what will be delayed. There is a delay in payment, not a default. Please note this. What we have learned and we have understood from sources is that this delay is because of the crisis that hit the financial markets due to exposure to the Z group. The exposure to the Z group is something that hit the industry because Z came under tremendous selling pressure, and initially those who held pledged shares started selling to recover the loans that had been lent to the Z group. Now these loans, roughly it came to about 7,500 crore across mutual funds, 4,500 crore across NBFCs, and 3,000 crore across through other foreign holdings. Now, out of this, 13,500 crore is still outstanding. Now, what does this mean? On 26th January, the shares of Z crashed very sharply because of that news. Then all the mutual funds decided to come in and step in and say that, look, we will not sell any further pledged shares. If there had been a further selling of pledged shares, the recovery would have been very, very low. So most mutual funds decided and they got into an agreement with Z, and it's a kind of an agreement. It's not an agreement in the sense that it is contractual, but it is something where all the fund industry players got into an agreement and said that they will not sell any further pledged shares. Now, as far as Kotak is concerned, this is very clear. They are still holding the pledged shares. They are not selling them as per this agreement. If they had sold this, then the recovery would have been nothing. The value of the shares would have gone further sharply. It should also be noted, let me pull up the current market price of Z Group shares, and for the 6 months also, please show me the 6 months chart of Z shares. You will find that there has been a sharp recovery in the hope that Z will be able to sell this to strategic investors. Now they are hoping that they will be able to sell to the strategic investors because now they are looking at recovering something like 13,500 crores. You can see the recovery. This is today's price. Bring up the 6-month chart on the screen. You will know how the stock has recovered sharply post this agreement. Now what the mutual funds are saying and what Kotak is clearly saying is that trying to do anything out of the ordinary and trying to sell the pledged shares would have worked against the interest of the investors. That's what our sources are saying, and we will also bring up the communication that the Chief Communication Officer of Kotak Mutual Fund has sent out to its investors. Let me read out. The 3-year FMP scheme, amongst other investments, is invested in NCDs issued by Edison's Utility Works and Conti Infra Power and Multi Ventures. Both are SL Group companies, secured by equity shares, that's the pledged shares I just talked about, of Z Entertainment. Now these shares and ILFS Transportation, of course, that's a different story. They are saying that we are working closely with the SL Group for optimal recovery from Conti and Edison's for the benefit of our unit holders, and believe that such recovery will take place, albeit with some delay. For ILFS Transportation Networks, Kotak Mutual Fund has made a 100% provision for this investment as the company has been classified in the red category, whereas where recovery is uncertain and will be dependent on the resolution plan achieved by the new board of NCLT. Now, this is the explanation coming from Kotak Mahindra Mutual Fund. Gentlemen, this is going to become an issue, Vatsal, for investors.
Yes.
While Kotak is clearly said that they will delay the payment, they are not saying a default. But it's about, in one case, it's about 17%, and in the other case, it's about 12% of the
Right.
fixed maturity plan. What are you telling your clients?
So, I mean, this is a scenario which likely going to be faced by many other FMPs, as we see, and it was a one of a kind incident where all the mutual funds have come together and they have decided not to sell shares in panic. So they are kind of safeguarding their collateral. Again, this is all subject to provided the stake sale happens of Z by September 30. So that is one big plus that everyone is waiting for. If the stake sale happens, everyone will be able to get out of this. And one thing that needs to be noted here is the principal amount has been paid back.
Right.
It's just the gains which are expected that have been held back. So someone who has invested 100 rupees, no, there is no loss in capital. Someone who has invested 100 rupees, someone has got 106 based on the series, someone has got 109, 112. There are two, three series here. So they have got their principal back. It's the interest portion, the gains which they were waiting for in the FMP, which have been on a value wise that has been impacted.
Okay, so that's as far as the fixed maturity plan is concerned. Nikhil, what is your sense? How will this affect other open-ended schemes in the debt category? Will they also be affected by this, or do we need to wait and watch and see how it plays? Because open-ended scheme, there is no cut-off date, so as and when redemption pressure comes, then only then the question will come.
Yeah, so in open-ended scheme, the only benefit is that because they have other securities also, and if there's a redemption pressure, they can sell other securities and repay the money which is required. Right. However, the only concern which I have is that it should not lead to a panic situation where people who just look at the portfolio and say there's a G Industries, so let me take out all the money from the scheme. So if that scenario happens, obviously there will be redemption pressure. But however said and done, in terms of exposure to in a fund, on an average there won't be large exposures compared to what you have in FMPs. In FMPs, more or less like concentrated portfolios, whereas in open-ended fund, the exposure will be in the range of 1% to say 5%, and that can be managed with the help of other securities which can be liquidated and repaid back to the investors. However, as we've discussed earlier also, they have continued discussion with the Z group and only waiting for the strategic sale. As soon as that happens, all the money will be recovered and will be in the open-ended fund, the NAV will continuously remain stable, whereas in FMPs, they will try to recover the money and then pay back to the investors.
Absolutely. Vatsal, on the point of strategic sale, a lot depends on how they manage the strategic sale.
Yes.
Only if the strategic sale happens, Z will be able to repay the money.
Yes.
Now, they have protected the value of the group by not selling the pledged shares.
Yes.
But a partner should come in now.
Hopefully, yes. And given the capability of the promoter, Subhash Chandra, so that is what everyone is betting on at the moment and nothing else. And he had a categorical con call just the next day after the crash happened, and he said that there could be various other market forces which are leading to a panic, and I request everyone to stay put and hold on to our shares as we are going to see a strategic sale. This is a very one of a kind incident, and I think this will go down the books of history. If they are through with the strategic sale, this can be considered as a feather in the cap for Z.
No, absolutely. Strategic sale is critical in this case. We'll also have to wait and watch how Kotak Mahindra Mutual Fund will be able to meet the commitment. They are saying that they will pay the balance amount by September, and how will they do it? What if there is no strategic sale? That question arises. If there is no strategic sale, do they have the option of paying through other means?
As a fund house, they cannot pay from any other means. Mutual fund is a pass-through vehicle.
Right.
So if there is any loss in the scheme, which has to be borne by the unit holders.
Okay.
So there is no other way that Kotak can pay from its balance sheet and pay back to the investors. The deadline which they've kept is 30th September. Again, it's not stone casted that it has to be 30th September.
It can be pushed
It can be pushed forward, or if SEBI come out with a rule that no, you cannot keep on delaying that, and you have it because it's a pass-through vehicle, you have to take up the loss and then repay back and take the loss in the books. Or it can be other way around, that because now the scheme of sidelining is happening, so that you can sideline some of the units, and the units still remain in the name of investors, and whenever the money is recovered, the money can be used to repay back to the investors. However, said and done, till the time the money has to be recovered only from the Z group, it cannot come from the Kotak's balance sheet to pay back to the investors.
So it cannot come back from the Kotak's balance sheet, but very importantly, if the money is recovered with interest, they will also get interest payment, I suppose.
Yes, that's what is expected
Out of this, provided the strategic sale goes through,
yes,
and
yes.
how the settlement happens going forward. Let's hope for the best, and let's wait till the strategic sale happens. But for now, most mutual fund managers have agreed that they will not sell the rest of the pledge share. If they do that, the strategic sale process will get derailed. Now, they want to ensure that the strategic sale process does not get derailed and the value is not destroyed. If that is the case, then it will go against the interest of the investors. We will keep bringing more updates, not only on Kotak AMC and Kotak mutual fund schemes. There are a number of other schemes that will be affected. Stay tuned to BTVI. We will get you more updates on this. We will slip into a short break and come back and take more queries. Welcome back. You are watching the Mutual Fund Guide. Let's address the first query. Bhuvaneshwari from Chennai has mailed us this query. She is 30 years, investing in L&T India large cap, Kotak Standard multi cap, SBI blue chip, Motilal Oswal multi cap, Reliance small cap, L&T infrastructure, Sundaram rural and consumption, Axis long term equity, Axis Focus 25, and Canara Robeco emerging equities. A long list. Yeah. What do you have to say?
So, I believe she wants to have a retirement corpus, and our suggestion is that the list is fine. This list, the particular schemes are fine. There may be just some rebalancing that Bhuvaneshwari may require. Also, one suggestion to all viewers is that one should every 3 years evaluate your mutual fund schemes, whatever you are holding. So, if you are buying today, it's not that you have to keep holding that for 20 years. You have to evaluate it. You can continue to hold it, but evaluation is important. Given that, in our recommendation scheme of things, I think L&T large cap is something she can look to rebalance, and she can go for a Canara Robeco emerging equity fund. Along with that, she should also look at Mirai Asset emerging blue chip. So Mirai Group has really clearly stood out from the rest of them, particularly because of Nilesh Surana and his fund management style. So one should have some investment in the Mirai Group as well.
Okay, very interesting. You will be able to achieve a target because you have a 20-year horizon, Bhuvaneshwari. All the best with your investments. The next query is from Mr. Divakar. He is on the line from Puttaparthi, which is in Andhra Pradesh. Good afternoon, Divakar. What's your query?
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Sorry, good afternoon.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Sir, I would like to ask you only few questions. I'm investing in SIP for tax saving.
Okay.
I got 4 scripts. Four mutual fund schemes.
Right.
All tax saving schemes. One is Aditya Birla. Number 2 is DSP BlackRock.
Okay.
Number 3 is Axis. And number 4 is L&T.
Okay.
Another one I forgot.
Okay.
These 4 things.
Yeah.
Should I continue? I'm investing about 10,000 per month.
Okay.
All put together.
Right.
Actually, I am a retired ICICI staff, and as per our ICICI Direct,
okay,
there was an indication that these scripts were recommended in a proportion.
Okay.
of 1,500 into 2 and 2,000 into 1.
Okay.
Totally 5,000. There are 2 demat accounts. I'm investing 5,000 in each demat account.
Okay.
Now, should I continue with the scheme or because I dropped out of L&T, it was giving negative returns.
Okay.
Should I continue?
When did you start investing, Mr. Divakar? When did you start investing?
The last 2 years I've been investing.
Last 2 years you have been investing, and they are all equity linked savings schemes, I think. And your how much time do you have? How long do you want to stay invested?
Right, sir.
Okay. Your response to.
Yeah. So first of all, just a viewer explanation, what is ELSS? It comes under section 80C. So when you invest in this scheme, you get tax benefit under section 80C up to 1.5 lakh rupees. And after 3 years, you can withdraw money from the schemes from a exit period perspective. However, I'll say that Divakarji, you shouldn't have 4 schemes in one category. All the funds are multi-cap, more or less like a multi-cap fund. You can have one ELSS scheme that's enough for your portfolio instead of having diversified in 4 funds, because more or less if you look at replication of portfolio, there will be 50 to 60% replication of the portfolio. So ideally is that you should have only one scheme. You can either stick to a Birla tax relief fund, or you can look at DSP tax saver fund. So this two, either one of those should suffice your portfolios thing. Again, horizon is that 5 years is a reasonable time frame, but as I said, because you're investing in equity, you should have a 7 years plus horizon. So I just want to say, consider the portfolio be in one scheme and have a horizon of 7 years plus, because ideally when you're investing in equity, you should have a horizon of 7 years plus to get a very good return. 2 years is a very short period of time. You may see negative return because you're doing an SIP, but I think if your horizon increases 7 years, you'll see very healthy return on your portfolio.
Right. All the best, Divakar, with your investments. Let's move on. Ujjwal Kumar Trivedi from Rajkot has mailed us this. He is 32 years, investing through SIP in Canara Robeco Emerging Equities, L&T Midcap, Tata Banking and Financial Services, Franklin India Smaller Companies, ICICI Pru Blue Chip, Sundaram Midcap and UTI Transportation and Logistics Fund. He has been investing for the last 3 years and has a time horizon of 28 years. He should be able to make crores of rupees, I suppose.
Yes, yeah.
Your thoughts?
So, yeah, Ujjwal Kumar, and the 28-year horizon is by far one of the largest, longest I've seen from various investors, and that's a great thing that you're doing. However, what is the target that you want? So you mentioned that whether this is good for your retirement, one should actually see that what is the right retirement amount. So 99% of the investors really don't know what should be my retirement amount. Mathematically, there is a very simple way to approach this. It should be 20 times of your expenses when you retire. So if you calculate that, the better way is your lifestyle today will depend on your retirement, and you should park in about 40 to 50% of your savings towards retirement SIPs. So given that if 12,000 is 40 to 50% of your savings, it's great. Or if you are putting say 20,000 in FD and 12,000 in SIP, you need to increase the weightage across. But the selection of funds remains good, and I think all the funds are good performers from the respective fund houses. So
okay, very interesting. Long-term planning, 28 years, but keep monitoring your funds. Don't let them be unmonitored. We need to address one more query. I think we have Mr. Ashwini Khurana. He's on the line from Aurangabad. Good afternoon. Namaskar, Ashwini ji. What's your query?
नमस्कार सर। नमस्कार सर, एक्चुअली मैं पिछली जून 2018 से 4 फंड में निवेश कर रहा हूँ। एक है ABSL, एक है कोटक स्टैंडर्ड मल्टी कैप, थर्ड है टाटा PE एंड फोर्थ है HDFC स्मॉल कैप। इन चारों में मैं 5-5 हजार रुपये मंथली कर रहा हूँ सर।
ओके।
मेरा गोल है सर 13-14 साल के बाद 2 करोड़ का रिटायरमेंट पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से।
ओके।
मेरी अभी की एज है सर 44।
ओके, ठीक है।
तो हाँ जी सर,
बोलिए। हाँ
सर, मेरा क्वेश्चन यही था कि मुझे अपना गोल अचीव करने के लिए इन्वेस्टमेंट में कुछ चेंज करने पड़ेंगे या फंड में कुछ चेंज करने पड़ेंगे, वो आपसे जानना था।
ठीक है।
Okay, so आपके जो funds है, they are very good. You have one fund in each category. You have a large cap fund, you have a multi cap fund, you have a value and contra fund, and you have a mid cap, a small cap fund. So from a diversification perspective, this is a good fund to hold in. With regard to investments, right now you're doing 20,000 rupees SIP. If I'm assuming 5,000 rupees in each fund, ideally that to achieve a corpus of 2 crores in 13 to 14 years, to start with 20,000 is a good amount. But what you need to do is that you increase your SIP amount every year on year. So as our income increases every year, your investment should also increase every year. So which is called as SIP step up. So ideally you should increase your SIP amount by 10% every year on year. If you keep on doing that, you should be able to achieve your goal. Or if you want to have a flat SIP, instead of 20,000, you have to increase that to 45,000. So it may not be possible to increase one time, but what you can do is that increase your SIP amount by 10% every year on year, which will help you to achieve your goal in a long period of time.
10% इंक्रीज करना पड़ेगा। अश्विनी जी और कोई सवाल है आपके?
नहीं सर, इसमें एक ये था कि क्या मैं इन सब चारों फंड में वन टाइम अगर मैं मान लो 2-2 लाख हर एक में डाल देता हूँ, तो क्या ये जल्दी अचीव हो सकता है?
हाँ, so अगर आप 2-2 लाख एक साथ में लमसम डाल देते हो, it will obviously help you to bump up the whole thing. So, but still SIP amount has to be increased every year. Or what you can do is that you can continue SIP of 20,000, but every year either you get a bonus or a lump sum payment, you can use it and top up to the same value.
Right. Vatsal, you want to say something?
अश्विनी जी, आपका जो क्वेश्चन है कि आप 2 लाख एक साथ डालेंगे तो आपका एक लमसम अच्छा ऐड हो जाएगा, बट यू विल बी वेल अवेयर दिस इज द इलेक्शन ईयर. तो मेरा सजेशन है कि आप 3 या 4 पार्ट में उसको 50-50 हज़ार करके 4 पार्ट में अगले 4 महीने में डालेंगे तो आपके लिए ज़्यादा महत्वपूर्ण रहेगा.
जब भी मार्केट गिरता है तब डालना पड़ेगा.
या तो आप टाइम कर सकते हो, टाइमिंग बहुत मुश्किल होती है, बट जब भी पैनिक होता है तभी आप पैसे डालेंगे तो आपको एक एनएवी एडवांटेज मिलेगा, लोअर एनएवी का एडवांटेज. एंड जैसे निखिल ने बताया, आपको एवरी ईयर आपको एसआईपी की वैल्यू बढ़ानी पड़ेगी. ये जो आपका करंट इन्वेस्टमेंट है उससे यू कैन एक्सपेक्ट 1 to 1.2 crores अगले 13 साल में.
Okay, all the best, Ashwini, and thank you, gentlemen, for joining us and helping our viewers with your expert advice. Save, invest, and prosper. Stay tuned to BTVI. More news, analysis, and updates coming up on the other side of the break.